O my Lord, make me brave, and make my task easy for me.
Have faith, step onto the cloud of Islam, and you will discover the light of Iman. Proclaim this message entrusted to you, and the cloud of Islam will carry you.
Is the last segment, the last quarter of the last verse of Surah Muhammad. Allah gives us a dire warning. Not your race, a terrible warning. Not your language, an awesome warning. Not your color. If you turn back from the duties and responsibilities which Allah has imposed upon you for giving you this high and noble status, He will substitute in your place another people, and they won't be like you. You don't do your job, get out.
قال الله تعالى في شان حبيبه إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وإن تتولوا يستبدل قوما غيركم ثم لا يكونوا أمثالكم صدق الله Azim. My dear brethren, I read to you the last segment of the last ayah of Surah Muhammad. You know that there is a surah in the Quran, and the name of the surah is Muhammad. Allah Bari Ta'ala has named it in honor of the name of our Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Surah Muhammad. I don't know whether you know at home how easy or how difficult it is for you to find this. Somebody tells you that this is from Surah Muhammad. It is, I feel, a very important duty on our part that when anybody makes any references to the Holy Quran and gives you a reference, to go home and check it out. Not that you are doubting the speaker, that the man has some reason to bluff you. No. The very fact that if you take the trouble of checking up these references, you read the ayah with the translation and the commentary, it will help you in understanding what the learned man has already said. And by doing that, that part of knowledge will become your own property. But Muhammad, where will you find Surah Muhammad? In this particular one, at the back of it is a very comprehensive index, just like a dictionary. You look for M. Muhammad starts with M. There's everything about Muhammad. So everything that the Quran speaks about our Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is in there. Everything on your fingertips. But we are looking for Surah Muhammad. The names of surahs are in italics, a special type of writing. So you read that, also under M, Muhammad, will tell you chapter 47. 47 is easy to find. You know why? Because every page is numbered. 2, 3, 4, 5, 20, 30, 40, 47. Easy to find because every page is numbered. Once you found chapter 47, surah 47, then I tell you is ayah number 38. Easy to find. Once you found the surah, ayah also easy to find. 38. The last segment, the last quarter of the last verse of Surah Muhammad, Allah gives us a dire warning, a terrible warning, an awesome warning. What does He say? He says, وَإِن تَتَوَلَّوْا يَسْتَبْدِلْ قَوْمًا غَيْرَكُمْ ثُمَّ لَا يَكُونُوا أَمْثَالَكُمْ. So, O you Muslims, if you turn back from the duties and responsibilities which Allah has imposed upon you for being the khayra ummatin, We believe that we are the khayra ummatin, the best of people. He describes us so. He says, kuntum khayra ummatin ukhrijat linnas, that you are the best of people evolved for mankind. Not for yourself, but for mankind. The Arabs, not only for the Arabs, but for mankind. The Malays, not only for the Malays, but for mankind. Ukhrijat linnas. Ta'muruna bil ma'rufi wa tanhawna anil munkar. What makes you the best of people? Because you are Saudis, you are Pakistanis, you are Malaysians, what? He says, no, ta'muruna bil ma'rufi wa tanhawna anil munkar, because you enjoin what is right and you forbid what is wrong. These are your qualifications. Wa tu'minuna billah, and you believe in Allah. If these are your qualities, then you are the best of people. Not your race, not your language, not your color. You stand for this? تَأْمُرُونَ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَتَنْحَوْنَ عَنِ الْمُنْكَرِ وَتُؤْمِنُونَ بِاللَّهِ. You are the best of people. But if once you become the best people, this status, this position Allah puts you in, it also confers upon certain responsibilities. There is no honor without responsibility. Every position of honor carries with it certain responsibilities. Our Imam, he carries a greater responsibility than the muazzin. You agree? The person who is just a sweeper, who dusts the place, he's got his responsibilities. The principal of a school has his responsibilities. The headmaster of the school has his responsibilities. The manager, you are a manager, you have certain responsibilities. You are the ruler in the country, you have your responsibilities. In the house, you have your responsibilities. There is no position of honor without responsibility. You can't get honor, prestige, status, and you have nothing to do. Once you are khayra ummatin, best of people, it carries that amount of responsibility. So Allah Bari Ta'ala, in this day and age, He has chosen us. And He's warning us that, O Muslims, if you turn back from your duties and responsibilities, which He has imposed upon you, for giving you this high and noble status, He will substitute in your place another people. يَسْتَبْدِلْ قَوْمًا غَيْرَكُمْ. Another people, a foreign people. ثُمَّ لَا يَكُنُّ مَثَالَكُمْ. Then they won't be like you. You don't carry out your responsibilities, out you go. The Imam doesn't do his job, what do you do? Get another Imam. The Muazzin, he doesn't wake you for Fajr, what do you do? Replace him. It's your bosses. You don't do your job, what does he do to you? Fire you. The manager doesn't do his job, he'll be fired. This is the law. Irrevocable law. It's unchanging law. You don't do your job, out you go. You being the khayra ummatin, you don't do anything, and Allah will keep you there on the pedestal. Because you are Malay, you are a Pakistani, you are an Arab. No, nothing, no favoritism with him. He's got no favorites. You don't do your job, get out. I'll put somebody else in your place. You don't do the job, get out. I'll put somebody else in your place. That's his law. And this law is an eternal law, unchanging law. He's doing it all the time. In the religious history of man, in the first instance, He chose the Jews, Bani Israel. You know that? He sent prophets after prophets to them. Out of the 4 heavenly books that we Muslims, we say we believe in, we say we believe in the Torah, we believe in the Zabur, we believe in the Injil, and we believe in the Furqan. The Furqan is the Quran. Out of the 4 books, 3 of them, 75% of the books are Jewish books. You know that? Books given to Jews. Hazrat Musa alayhi salam is Jew. He was given the Torah. Hazrat Dawud alayhi salam is Jew. Was given the Zabur. Hazrat Isa alayhi salam is Jew. He was given the Injil. Jew. Out of the 4 books, 3 are Jewish books. 75% Jewish books. We say we believe that they were sent by Allah. He chose them. He sent prophets after prophets to them. Some of the names we give our children, we say Musa, Jewish name. Dawud, Jewish name. Ishaq, Jewish name. Yahya, Jewish name. You know that? Jews, our children, we give them Jewish names. Why? Because these are the names of the righteous servants of God. We are not ashamed to give these names to our children. But the fact remains that Allah chose them. He sends prophets after prophets to them to do a certain job of work. They didn't do it. They didn't fulfill their obligation. So a Jew among the Jews, Hazrat Isa alayhi salam, he is telling his people according to the so-called Injil, the New Testament of the Christians. Hazrat Isa alayhi salam is made to say, and the kingdom of God, this high position, this honor, this status, will be taken away from you and given to a nation bringing forth the fruits thereof. This position that you are holding will be taken away from you and given to somebody else. And who that somebody else will be? A nation that will produce fruits. You don't produce fruits, cut it off. Burn it. Trees that don't bear fruit, what do you do with the trees? Just an ornament, doing nothing, chop it off. Useless. Occupying valuable space. You too, you do the same, chop it off. Replace you.
The research, the knowledge, the proof, the complete way of life, Islam.
The whole process of education, acquiring knowledge and conveying it, has to be within the context of the fear of God.
Join Dr. Bilal Phillips in Islamic education tomorrow at 3 p.m. Saudi Arabia and 4 p.m. UAE on Peace TV. The prodigy Dai of Islam, Farid Naik.
I challenge any human being to point out a single fundamental of Islam.
The illustrious son of the world-famous orator of Islam, Dr. Zakir Naik.
Ekam Braham Dutya Naste. Bhagwan ek hi hai, dusra nahi hai. Nahi hai, zara bhi nahi hai.
Motivating towards the true path.
No Muslim is a Muslim if he does not believe in Jesus Christ, peace be upon him. Science without religion is lame, and religion without science is blind.
With his thrilling words and inspirational temperament.
Demanding dowry from the would-be bride is completely prohibited in Islam. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, the one endowed with knowledge and wisdom. I am proud to be a fundamentalist Muslim.
Join Farid Naik, appearing in Teens Star, next on Peace TV.
So Hazrat Isa alayhi salam told the Jews that you will be displaced by somebody else. And there is another law seems to be at work, that when he displaces one group of people by another, almost invariably that people who displaces you, who replaces you, is a nation, is a community that you have been looking down upon. That's Allah's punishment. The one you look down upon the most, He makes them to sit on your head. You're looking down upon the Bantus, then one day Allah will make them to sit on your head. You look down upon the Bushman, the Hottentot, He can make them to sit on your head. The people you are looking down upon, He says, make them to sit on your head. Now you feel something. You still feel that we were the master race, we are less than that. Down you. You serve now. يَسْتَبْدِلْ قَوْمًا غَيْرَكُمْ. There is a law at work. Why won't you learn? Allah Bari Ta'ala, in His wisdom, He displaced the Jews. By who? By the Arabs. These Jews were looking down upon the Arabs for 3,000 years. They said, you see, Father Ibrahim alayhi salam, he had two wives, Sarah and Hajara. They say, the Jews, that Sarah was his legitimate wife. He entered into a contract with her. But Hagar, this Hajara, was a bondwoman, a slave woman. She was actually a princess of Egypt. The ruler of Egypt, he presented her to him. But the Jews, because of their hatred, they say she was a bondwoman, a slave woman. As such, her children count for nothing. They call the Arabs Hagarenes, children of Hagar, Hagarenes. And the religion is Hagarism. This is the insulting way they speak about the Arabs, their cousins, and the religion, Hagarism. For 3,000 years. So they were looking down upon the Arab cousins, good for nothing. On the side of the Jews, the Arabs are good for nothing. Barbarians, illiterates, Ummi people. And Allah Bari Ta'ala chooses them and makes them to sit on the heads of the Jews. But now once He puts you on the pedestal, He is not forever. You have to do the work, produce the fruits. You don't produce the fruits, يَسْتَبْدِلْ قَوْمًا غَيْرَكُمْ. He'll substitute in your place another people. That's the law. Allah, why don't people learn? That's the law. So the Muslims spread out. They went as far as Spain, as far as the Atlantic coast. They went and conquered Spain, and they ruled that country for 800 years. Muslims ruled the European nation, Spain, for 800 years. No Christian nation has ever ruled Muslims for that period of time. Do you know that? The longest that they ever ruled was in Mozambique, the Portuguese. See, Mozambique is a Muslim territory. Even today, 60% of the people of Mozambique are Muslims. Yeah, next door to us. This place was an Arab outpost, trading post. And there was a governor there when the Portuguese came along and conquered them. There was a governor by the name of Musa bin Baik. Musa bin Baik was the governor of that territory. When the Portuguese, with his superior gunpowder, he came and knocked hells into them and conquered the place. Whose place? Musa bin Baik. They couldn't say Musa bin Baik, so they say Mozambique. That's how the name Mozambique comes about. The Muslims crossed the sea between Africa and Spain and landed at a place, Jabal. They called that mountain Jabal al-Tariq. Tariq was the commander who crossed over from Africa to Spain, and the place where they landed, they called that mount Jabal al-Tariq. Now, the Westerners, they call it Gibraltar. Jabal al-Tariq, they say Gibraltar. The Muslims went as far as the Philippines. They had the trading post there. Ma'manullah, by the help of Allah, they reached there. Ma'manullah, they say Manila. Muslim. The longest that the Christians ever ruled Muslims was in Mozambique for 500 years. They ruled your motherland, Indonesia, for 300 years, the Dutch. 300 years. Longest was in Mozambique, 500 years. The Muslims ruled Spain for 800 years. What were they doing? Muslims were having a jolly good time, wallah. As the Afrikaner is having now, here, the white man, same thing. The Muslim was same position. In Spain for 800 years he had it. The Afrikaner is here only for 300 years. He's having a good time, the halwa and the nice things here. He's having it only for 300 years. The Muslims had it for 800 years. And they're listening to the dire warnings of the Quran. Allah is warning them. He's warning us all times. The warnings are eternal. Say, Kam taraku min jannatin wa uyun. Kam taraku min jannatin wa uyun. Wa zu'in wa makamin kareem. Wa ni'matin kanu fiha fakihin. Kadhalika. أورثناها قوما آخرين فما بقت عليهم السماء والأرض وما كانوا منذرين. They read this. They read in the Salat, during the Quranic, the Rakats, in our Salat, they read. During the Taraweeh, they read. And they read the Tilawat in the homes, they read. These are Arabs. They understood what they were reading. It was the language. In our case, we have a lame excuse for saying we don't understand. It's an excuse we have. We don't understand what we read. Allah has given us warning, but this is like water on duck's back because we didn't know what the warnings were about. So now I want to put you in a dangerous situation. I said, look, get the translation. So you won't have any more excuses. That's why you are afraid. Don't buy. you are in deeper trouble. Yes. Now you will read, Allah is telling you this, say, man. And if you don't heed the warning, double trouble. Rather be in single trouble. Just say, I didn't know. If you think you'll get away with that. The Arab is reading this in his own mother tongue. And Allah is warning him. Kam tarakum jannatin wa uyun. So how many were the gardens and the fountains they left behind? Wazuim wa makamin kareem. And cornfields and monumental buildings. Wa ni'matin kanu fiha fakihin. And wealth and the amenities of life in which they took so much delight. Kathalika. وَأَوْرَثْنَاهَا قَوْمًا آخَرِينَ. That's other people we made to inherit these things. فَمَا بَقَتْ عَلَيْهِمُ السَّمَاءُ وَالْأَرْضُ وَمَا كَانُوا مُنْزَرِينَ. And neither the heavens nor the earth shed a tear for them, nor was respite given to them anymore. They read it. But when they read it, they're thinking about the Egyptians. They are thinking about the Egyptians, the fool, the Pharaoh. Allah, look at them. The garden they had and the fountain they had and the monumental building, the pyramids and the sphinx. Oh, what they had. And cornfields, everything they had, the richest. One of the most richest civilized nation at the time was Egypt. And the fool, he didn't heed the warning. Allah sends plague after plague, warnings after warnings. He didn't heed. Eventually Allah destroyed him in the Red Sea, drowned him and his hordes and his troops. He drowned him in the Red Sea. You see that fool? He didn't learn. He didn't learn. See what Allah did to him? The fool doesn't know that he is in the firing line now. While he's reading, he is in the firing line. Because when you read this today, as soon as you read this, you think of Spain. Wallah. If you ever go to Spain, if you ever visit that country, you see that the Alhambra, Cordova, all these beautiful cities that the Muslims left behind, beautiful buildings, and fountains in disuse. That's the only thing that there is that one can see in Spain. Besides the bullfights, if you're interested in bullfights, further they can show bullfights. And the women, when they do the dancing, they have something on the fingers called castanets. They make kit, when they... Besides that, there's nothing in Spain except the buildings that our forefathers left. That's all that there is to see. But for 800 years, Allah gave them a mighty long inning to do the job. No, they won't do the job. You know why? Because proud, arrogant. So these Spanish people, pig eaters, what can they understand about Islam? Drunkards. What can they understand about Islam? That's the mentality. We have the same. You see, when I'm talking about something, think whether we are in the same sickness we have, the sickness that they have. These colored people, what can they understand about Islam? Huh? The amount of alcoholics in South Africa, their alcoholic rate is 5 times that as of any other race in the country. Can they understand anything about Islam? At the slightest pretext, they're ready to bash you. On one of my trips, I was in Elsie's River. I think Brother Muhammad, he had his supermarket there, and we just got the message that the power failed. So he wanted some cranking machines to work the tills. So he said, come on, let's go. So we went. So he was giving the cranking machines, to work the till because the power was not working. So I'm standing there looking, and I see an African there, and somehow I seemed to be quite an intelligent African. So I'm telling him, I said, these people here, I can't make out the difference whether these people are Muslim or not. There's no indication. So he tells me, he says, sir, I lived here in Elsie's River before they pushed us out to Gogoletu and Langa and whatever. Before they pushed us, we used to live among them. And I can tell you, pass, very easy to find. The difference is how. He said, you see, about 3 times, these coloreds, they bashed me up for no reason. Drink and this is a bash of kafir, bloody kafir. These Malay people, they're very good people. They don't do that. That's his way of identifying. The colored and the Malay. Otherwise we look the same. Am I right? Look, in your looks, There's no difference. Wallah, there's no difference. In your surnames, there's no difference. In your language, there's no difference. The only thing that indicates that you are a Muslim is when I see the kufiya on your head, I say, no, this guy's a Muslim. Otherwise, how can I know? Mrs. Johnson visits me, Johnson. I say, are you Muslim? She says, yes. I said, what's your husband? He says, also Johnson. He says, a Muslim? I said, yes. I said, where do you live? He said, on Johnson Road. No, really, there's no... So my husband is a journalist. Johnson, I have to ask again and again, Muslim? Your husband Muslim? No indication. Mr. Hendricks. What's Hendricks? You have a Christian Hendricks or Muslim Hendricks? If I'm wrong, you must correct me. Muslim Brown? Our Qari tonight, he's a Muslim Brown and we have a Christian Brown. Am I right? Look, that means this is what our slave masters gave our forefathers. We still carry those names.
To make positive change.